This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
I am feeling great and rip-roaring ready to go. How about you, Tom?
Same here. Or you're not, are you a little too humid in this room?
No.
Yeah.
Is that why you have the window open?
Yeah, I just feel humid. That's neither here nor there. People don't tune in. People are dying to hear about socks. And look, we're going to get to that.
Oh, we'll get to socks.
Tim, this past weekend, went to our old neighborhood of Greenpoint, Brooklyn. And let me tell you, as somebody who hasn't really been there in a while and also hasn't really been to a bar during...
Or been anywhere.
Yeah, been anywhere. To go to a bar in our old neighborhood, I felt like I was 10,000 years old.
Yeah, it's a hip neighborhood, Tom. We were trailblazers. We moved to a neighborhood in, 2006?
Urban pioneers.
Yeah, first wave gentrifiers, I guess.
Hey, tomato.
Yeah, and then we aged out of there freaking 9 years ago, Tom.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, 10 or 11 years ago, but we stayed a little too long. We left. Yeah. And every time I go back there, I get wistful. Yeah. And I'm just like, this was such a nice neighborhood. But then I realized I don't like going to Greenpoint. I like feeling like I'm in my 20s. Right. And for a second, I feel like I'm in my 20s because I remember the streets and stuff from when I was in my 20s. Right. But then quickly I'm just like, but I don't fit in here.
Yeah, I had to keep not talking about because I was it was hangout with my girlfriend's friends. Okay. Who I know, but they're not.
You don't like?
No, I do like them, but they're a little younger than us, and
problematically so.
No, I knew you were going to say something.
I was asking.
Early 30s.
Okay,
so probably they were too old to be there too.
Yeah,
but
did you tell them that? Did that endear you to
We're
them?
all too old to be here. Everybody's looking at us and thinking, who are the old farts? Yeah. Not just me.
The best thing I think to tell a woman in her 30s is that she's too old to be somewhere.
Yeah. But that it's okay for me, who's even older, to be there.
Yeah. But, you can go gray naturally.
Yep.
Do a lot of things.
I get better looking as I get older. Mm-hmm.
You raised your eyebrows at me when you said
when
that.
I said I look better looking as I look older, you looked me up and down like I was a piece of meat.
No, I looked at the floor to avoid eye contact with you.
Okay, well,
I'm still adjusting to these in person.
Tim, and I got very uncomfortable. I have half a mind to go to HR about this.
Kissy noises with my mouth.
No, I realized after a little while when people were talking about places nearby that I had to keep my mouth shut because I was talking about places that that place burned to the ground 50 years ago. People were like, oh, we should get food. I'm like, I should go to this place on the corner. And then I go outside and it's like, oh, that's a Bed Bath & Beyond now. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't get a gyro there anymore.
Yeah. It's just crazy, especially there's more money in that area in Greenpoint than there used to be. So there's just tons and tons of hip ads for hip things, for things you don't see ads for anywhere else.
Like what?
There was
TikTok.
There was a giant billboard for that Netflix show, Tuca and Birdie.
Okay.
And that was above a painted mural of Rick and Morty.
Tom, this sounds like your adult animation, Tom.
Yeah, but it was where else do you see adult animation where they splash out on a billboard somewhere nowadays?
Instead of Pepsi or A Quiet Place 2.
Right.
Yeah.
And also Greenpoint's still a pretty there aren't skyscrapers or anything in Greenpoint.
They're starting construction on
Are
something
they?
down there at the waterfront. Yeah,
But it's still like pretty resident. Well, I guess I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's still like a neighborhood. It
like
looks like
scummier than you would expect for an expensive place to live.
no, not necessarily that, but like not crazy overcrowded yet, I guess is what I'm saying, because there aren't skyscrapers and stuff.
Right.
So that's the other thing where I'm like, there's these huge billboards, and I'm like, I don't know, like 100 people live on this block, but there's a giant billboard. Like, not that many people come through here, but I guess the people that do are the people that they're targeting.
They're tastemakers. Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
You live in Greenpoint, you're a tastemaker. And also, I think there is kind of some element of tourism coming through Greenpoint.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing. Even before we moved, I noticed that there was like a lot of international tourism.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like, I mean, when we've been in other countries, we go to like shithead places. If somebody's like, oh, this is where like the record stores are and stuff, and like good food, when we're like, look, we already got more pictures than we can fit on the wall of us pushing the cart on station 9 3/4 into Hogwarts.
I like to get one. I like to refresh that every 6 months.
Well, you're looking to get like you want to put one of those aging videos together, right?
Yeah.
Where you take a picture every 6 months and put it all together. Somebody will see you rapidly age.
I also stand up against the wall and have someone mark off my height every time I'm there.
Yeah, which I don't know why you do that, Tim. Your height's staying relatively the same. Sometimes you say like, "Oh, look, I grew 1/8 of an inch," but I think it's just you have different shoes on.
Tom, in all seriousness,
I have been growing.
I'm doing a lot. I went to a chiropractor. It wasn't exactly a chiropractor.
Wait, what does that mean?
It's a guy that I got that he fixes up my back.
What do you mean he's a guy that you got?
He's a doctor. He might be an actual medical doctor.
Wait,
he's got an office.
He's a doctor. He might be a medical doctor.
He's got an office on the Upper West Side. It's all on the up and up. I go there.
Do you think it's all on the up and up because it's on the Upper West Side?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. That's one of the ups. And the other thing, I go up in an elevator once I get there. So
yeah, it's up and up.
Yeah. He was just like, I got to be honest with you. Your back is you're a mess.
I got to be honest. This back's no good.
Basically. And so I've been doing...
And take it from me, I'm not even a medical doctor.
He is, I think. Anyway,
he tells you, don't go to a medical doctor. You'll be embarrassed. They'll get mad at you. Keep coming to me.
Yeah. But anyway,
is this his home that you go to?
No, it's an office.
All right.
He's got a lot of equipment up there. Tom, he does a lot of people that are like on Broadway.
He has sex with a lot of Broadway actors?
No, he's their physician. He's like their back guy. Like these dancers, they mess up their backs and stuff.
Yeah, so like he's the one, like injecting them with human growth hormone or something.
What do you think goes on Broadway?
I'll tell you what goes on Broadway, Tim. The show. The show must go on. And sometimes they need a doctor that, doc, I got to get out. I got to tap dance on Broadway tonight. We got a full house.
I know this guy's not going to, he's going to do something. He's going to be like, lie down here. I'm going to put some electrode things on you. And then I'm going to like do this weird move and it's going to cure you. The show will go on without a hitch. It'll be the best performance in a decade of
a standing ovation
carousel.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Anyway. He's like, yeah, you're right. And so I had to do all this stuff. I've been doing a lot of yoga. I've been like working on posture things. I think functionally, I will be taller on a day-to-day basis, right? If you were to have me, if you a year ago or 2 years ago when we were at King's Cross, if you had marked my height, and then we go back in 6 months and you mark my height, I think it would be higher now because I'm just carrying myself better.
How much do you think higher it would be?
Maybe a half an inch.
It's not going to be half an
I
inch.
think it might be. My spine was so contracted, Tom.
Do you, so they put the electrodes on you?
Yeah,
Those things are great, huh?
they are.
Yeah.
And also he like turns them up a little too high.
Well, I think that's one of those things where you do need somebody else kind of in charge of it that is turning it up and being like, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like, and turns it up
Well,
high.
then he leaves the room for about 25 minutes. And I don't know what he does. There's never any other patients there.
But that is one of those things where you need it turned up high enough, I think, to the point where you're like, oh, should I say something?
Yeah.
But ultimately, shame and cowardice will stop you from saying anything.
Yeah, but then it feels like your blood is flowing through your body in weird ways. Like I think my
didn't
blood started
notice
going
that.
backwards, and I think my heart might have skipped a beat. I think this is like messing with the electricity in my body.
Hey, if it gets you a half an inch taller, though,
Yeah.
all worth it.
Exactly. If I could gain, my goal is to gain half an inch a year
Well,
for the next.
I think there's going to be
10 years.
diminishing returns. I have one of those TENS machine.
What's that?
That's what the electrodes are.
Oh yeah, I got one of those too, but I don't trust myself.
Oh, I use mine. Actually, it's right there on the bookshelf. Look at that. Because I used mine recently. I don't use it very often, but it is very good. Like, all right, I've tried everything, and my back or neck still hurts. I'm gonna do this, and it always like I should not go to it as a last resort after like a week of being in pain. I should just be like, oh, that's the first thing I'd try.
It relaxes your muscles so much. And look, this doctor, he's a great guy, but he was just like, I mean, this is the worst I've seen. Like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, I've been incredibly tense for the last 15 months and haven't been like, I'm a very anxious person. And like, there was a pandemic on, and I was afraid that either myself or my loved ones would die.
Yeah.
And I've been tense. Yeah, my back's gonna be a little messed up. That's why I come to you.
I hate whenever you go to a doctor and they're like, what's wrong? You're like, this isn't good. And then they're like, oh, let me take a look at it. Oh, this is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I came, you moron.
Yeah, this is what's keeping you in business, so a little respect.
Yeah, but that always have like, well, I'm pretty sure I've said it on this before. Like anytime I've gone for a massage, the masseuse is always like, oh, you're real tense in your shoulders. I'm like, no shit. That's why I came.
That's why I hired you to do something about it.
If I wasn't tense in my shoulders, I wouldn't be, spending money to have a stranger rub me.
Yeah, and if you weren't tense, they'd be like, why'd you come here? You're not tense. You don't need this.
You can't win with these masseuses or doctors. Like how we started talking about how we can't go to our old neighborhood anymore because we're perceived as too old, and ended by talking about back pain remedies and how to find a good doctor.
Yeah.
Boy, this podcast has got 1 foot in the grave.
Sure does.
2 feet in the grave. One from each of us.
Yeah, 2 out of 4 feet.
2 out of 4 feet. Which, if both feet belonged to one of us, then we'd be in trouble. One of us would be in the grave.
Right. And what are we wearing on those feet? But socks.
Yeah, they're getting filthy. Tim, what a beautiful transition to tonight's subject.
I thought you were gonna segue, and then you didn't.
I didn't, Tim. You know what? I'm all credit to you for that beautiful segue. And the nice thing is we didn't call attention to it either. So
subtlety is the name of the game here.
Tim, we're talking about socks. This was a suggestion from our Patreon from Megan Rose. Megan, kiss from a rose on the grave.
Ooh.
That she has a nickname in the middle, and at the end. Also, speaking of graves.
Yeah. Tom, it's all coming back.
Yeah.
It's
What?
That's not the lyrics to the
kiss from a rose on the grave?
It's not the grave.
What is the lyrics?
The gray?
Well, I don't think so. He's like he's like in front of the bat signal during that. I thought he was on the grave.
Batman's grave?
I hope not, but who knows? I mean,
Seal's a sick puppy, huh?
Yeah. Batman thought he had really met his match with the Penguin, but he had not met the Seal.
Man, if they should have incorporated Seal into Batman Forever. It wouldn't have been a worse movie.
No. And like Seal's like a tall, intimidating. I mean, he's not intimidating. He looks like a real teddy bear. But I could see him being a maniacal Batman villain if he put his mind to it. But we're talking about socks. You're looking up the lyrics to
Kiss from a Rose.
Kiss from a Rose.
Well, why
we could have asked Megan Rose. She would have known.
Yeah, I mean, it's what she was named after. We should probably ask her parents. Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the gray.
On the gray.
Ooh, the more I get of you, the stranger it feels. Yeah. And now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the gray.
I thought it was the light hits the moon.
No.
Huh. The gray. That's where Seal likes to operate. In the gray, in the area between black and white, which is why Batman has such a hard time with them.
Tom, the first line of the first verse after the ba-ya-ya, ba-da-ba-ya, there used to be a graying tower alone on the sea. You became the light on the dark side of me. So, according to Genius, Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the gray. This line is a reference to the opening imagery of a graying tower alone on the sea. He compares her to the ability of a single rose to grow on the gray tower surrounded only by the ocean. What the hell is this song about? I thought it was about Batman and
I thought it was
Riddler.
about like Gotham City or something. I mean, that Bone Thugs and Harmony song from that soundtrack, that talks about Gotham City.
Bone Thugs and Harmony. You're thinking of R. Kelly.
No.
Gotham City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I am. I think Bone Thugs had a song on that soundtrack too.
The Batman Forever soundtrack? You're thinking of the Flaming Lips. You always get them confused.
You know what? You're right.
Socks.
Yeah, Tim. People are tuning in to hear about socks, not for you to go on and on about Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Batman Forever soundtrack.
Yes.
Great soundtrack. The Offspring.
Yep. Was that the one with you two? No, that was Batman and Robin, I think.
No.
Oh.
Hold me, kiss me, thrill me, kill me, or something. Hold me, thrill me, kiss me, kill me. A lot of kissing on that soundtrack.
Yeah. Well,
Very sexy movie.
Batman does a lot of kissing in that movie, more than he normally does.
Poison Ivy. Does he kiss Poison Ivy?
No, that's the next movie. He kisses Nicole Kidman in this one.
I think you're wrong, Tom.
No, that was Batman and Robin.
Okay.
Which is the fourth one, the second Joel Schumacher movie.
Socks.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna talk about them.
Yes.
Well, I'm now Googling Batman Forever soundtrack.
Should we just change the topic of this episode and go song by song through the Batman Forever soundtrack?
Batman Forever had Two-Face, Riddler.
Oh, okay.
And Poison Ivy and Robin.
Wow. Talk about a
stacked cast.
Yeah. Then who did Batman and Robin have? It had Mr. Freeze. Jew.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah, that had Poison Ivy and Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze.
Okay.
And Bane for a minute, too.
Well,
to be technical. It's a bad version of Bane. It looked good. Very comic accurate look.
Socks.
Yes.
Tom, can I clear the air about socks?
Please do. Your socks stink.
This is what I wanted to talk about.
Uh-huh.
I think socks get a bad rap.
Okay.
I don't think socks smell that bad at the end of one day of use. And maybe it's just me.
I looked into stinky socks, actually, Tim. That was part of my research today. So I didn't really realize. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Socks are one of those things you don't think about it a lot, huh? That the point of...
It's if you're not doing the darning.
I always just kind of assumed, like, the point of socks is comfort.
Okay, yeah.
But
It's also protection.
yeah. Well, but the point is to wick away moisture.
Mhm.
Apparently, our feet sweat more than any other part of our body. Each foot can produce up to 1/4 of a pint of sweat a day.
Quarter of a pint. That doesn't seem like a lot, actually.
Think about half a pint of beer, and that's all sweat just from your feet after one day.
No, quarter.
Quarter each foot.
Forgot.
Yeah, that's a lot of
I was
sweat.
thinking because one of my feet is in the grave. I wasn't counting it.
Right. Yeah, socks are mostly meant to wick away moisture from your feet, which I guess I also thought about that's what socks were for, because if you
I'm telling you, Tom, right now, my feet do not sweat that much.
I don't think my feet sweat all that much either.
Wouldn't I question this research you did? Because wouldn't our socks be freaking soaked to the bone every day?
No.
Because it's not like it's an efficient way of like, and then it gets it right out of the shoe.
Yeah,
because it's just sitting in there. You should be. Should be like if this were true, you'd be walking around, and you just hear.
Yeah,
in your shoes.
I don't know. Through the magic of socks to get rid of that moisture, but they stink. Socks do stink. You're 100% wrong.
Tom, I've been wearing these socks
I'm
all
not
day.
smelling them.
I'll take a big whiff.
All right, go for it.
Smells fine.
Can't believe you almost, did you kiss your foot when you did that?
I licked it, yeah.
Wow.
Salty. So that does
I was gonna
lends credence to your research.
I remember what I was gonna say.
You were just impressed with how flexible I am. It's all this yoga.
You were pretty. Yeah. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe you are going to be half a foot taller in a decade.
Taller than you one day. You see, people naturally kind of shrink as they get older.
Not you.
Not me.
You started off shrunk.
Exactly. So me and you, we're gonna be two ships in the night.
It's true. I remember like as like a little kid picking on my brother and my uncle telling me like, oh, you should be careful. He might be bigger than you one day. And me being like, that's literally impossible because I'm older than him. But I am taller than him. So he was wrong, my uncle.
Yeah.
You probably don't do
Should've
this.
told your uncle to go fuck himself.
I believe at the time I did. You might not have done this since you were younger, but I remember as like a kid. Well, I mean, as a teenager, everything fucking stinks. You smell bad all the time.
Oh yeah, because teens just stink.
Teen is also the age where I would
Tell me what else teen is the age of.
Where sometimes you wouldn't wear socks. You would just put your foot in your sneaker.
Tom, that's disrespectful.
To who?
To shoes? No, doing that.
Yeah. Putting your... Tim, I didn't say I agree with these teens.
Look, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be my controversial thing as a man who is younger than you, but still kind of old. Socks with sandals?
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Oh, no.
No socks in a sneaker? The worst.
Well, and that's why I always thought the main point of socks was because you can't easily clean a sneaker or shoe, especially the inside.
Right, unless it's Keds, you could throw them right in the washing
right. Of
machine.
course, if it's Keds, you can throw them right in the washing machine. But if it's not, you're gonna have a hard time cleaning it.
Right.
So I thought like, oh, that's why socks exist to make sure to slow down your shoes getting stinky.
Right. Is that not the case?
I mean, a little bit. It's to wick away moisture and stuff.
Stop saying wick away.
Because I remember wearing...
Were people saying wick, but like moisture wicking before like 2015?
Yeah, because wicks existed. Candle wicks.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah, kind of.
Huh.
It's wicking the wax.
No, that can't.
Brings the wax up from the bottom into the string.
All right.
The reason why socks smell. Everybody's socks except yours, Tim.
Tom, smell them. I'll
Or
smell
that-
yours, but not while they're on your feet.
Or that, well, I want to touch your socks.
Do you think we have an influx of foot perverts listening to this episode?
Why do you have something you'd like to market towards them?
No, it's just
No,
welcome.
a foot pervert's going to look at this and go, socks, talk to me when it's nude feet.
Yeah. Talk to me when the episode is no socks.
Right, which will be next week.
Yeah.
Your socks smell bad because of ammonia, fatty acids, and lactic acid.
Okay.
But did you also know this, that odorous socks can attract animals, including dogs and mosquitoes? And
Smelly socks could attract the dog?
I remember my dog when I was a kid loved stinky socks.
Is that why dogs are always freaking eating shoes?
Maybe,
This
yeah.
One dog ate a shoe so bad when I didn't have the money to buy new shoes. They ate my dress shoes
Oh
that
no.
I needed for work. I was so mad at that
Yeah,
dog.
and it's hard to get money out of a dog, to be honest.
I outlived that dog. It died
Well-
of natural causes.
All right. Good for you.
Well,
I guess you won in the end, Tim, against a innocent animal that didn't know it was doing anything
innocent. Did you hear about how it ate my shoe?
wrong. So yeah, dogs like stinky socks for the most part. But like I said, mosquitoes like stinky socks too, to the point where there's a project in Kenya that involves harvesting smelly sock odor with cotton pads that can be used to bait traps for like malaria mosquitoes. Guess who's behind that little scheme?
Your favorite guy.
William Gates.
Your favorite guy's favorite guy.
Bill Gates is behind that
Yeah.
one. So who knows? He might be a sock pervert too. He might be like, oh yeah, we need it. We need it to bait traps.
That would be. I think that
He
would
collected
be
them
kinda
himself. It says
spot on. It's just like, yeah, his weird thing is like he's got a thing for socks.
Yeah, I mean, beyond.
Like he buys used socks on eBay.
Yeah. He's definitely got, I mean, maybe his weird thing is illegal, but he definitely strikes me as like a guy who's got a weird thing.
Yeah. But I think it's something, it's not like an obvious weird thing. It's
Yeah.
something where it's like, no, I'm not like a foot fetishist.
Right. I
But
just collect.
It's the socks. And like, I got no interest in the foot.
Right.
There's a foot in that thing. I don't care. But
Yeah.
as
Or
soon as it
maybe
comes
even
up-
if there's a foot in it, it disgusts him.
Yeah.
He just wants the socks. There are some socks now that have silver nanoparticles weaved into them, and that can help.
Do you have a pair of those?
No, I
That
don't
seems
think
like
so.
something you would.
No, I mean, I've seen.
You like buying clothes with technology in it.
I like buying clothes with metal in it. Yeah.
That's my problem. Have you been to Uniqlo lately?
Not. I just ordered some stuff off the website. I haven't been to the store.
They don't
but-
just have like shirts. Like here's
Yeah,
a cotton shirt.
everything's-
Everything has like some sort of like this is technology to do like this makes you less hot in the summer.
Yeah.
It's like just sell me a freaking cotton blend shirt.
Yeah, I. Wear,
Everything like looks oddly they like shimmers in the sun. It's like I don't want
Yeah.
my shirts to do this.
Well, especially the idea, as far as I'm concerned, behind socks, underwear, and undershirts is that these items are, more or less disposable. Eventually, you're going to, just chuck this thing once it gets worn out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not buying.
They just disintegrate for me.
Yeah, I'm not buying an undershirt and thinking like this is the last undershirt I'm ever going to buy. It's fine. It gets gross. It stops your other clothes, your
Yeah.
overshirt and your pants and your shoes from getting gross quicker. So they'll last longer.
Yeah, it's
That's
first
all.
line of defense.
Two other things that I want to bring up about smelly socks, Tim. Stale poppers can smell like sweaty socks. You know, poppers,
The drug?
the drugs poppers. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's stale, it will smell like smelly socks.
I didn't know
think it's-
drugs could be stale.
Yeah. I think it still works. Maybe it doesn't work as well, but that must stink. You're looking to get, a head rush Yeah, followed by a crippling headache. And you're like, PU.
Yeah. Someone I know once bought poppers and they had to ask for VCR head cleaners.
Yeah, they're sold as other things. That's how they get around it.
Yeah.
And lastly, this was from the Smelly Socks Wikipedia page. Smelly Socks have their own Wikipedia page.
Wow. What are they thinking next?
A reoccurring theme in the television series Married with Children revolved around the stinky socks of the character Al Bundy.
Oh, yeah. They had to use like tongs and like.
He had some real stinky socks, and he worked in a shoe store.
Yeah.
So.
Tom, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest. Is your sock habit one day in the hamper?
Yes, absolutely.
Then how do they get that freaking stinky?
I mean, mine don't unless I'm like working out in them or camping. Like if I sweat,
yeah,
then they'll get stinky
Okay.
because it's like trapped. But yeah, otherwise I don't think mine are that stinky because
Alright.
I do. That's like socks and underwear and undershirt are the like every day has to be a new one, especially during the pandemic. Everything else, whatever. But those, yeah, I do have to have a new one every day.
Yeah, I think we should look. If everybody's doing that, everybody's one day at a time with your socks and then laundering them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's remove the stigma of stinky socks. Moderate activity, a day's worth of use. It's not going to be any stinkier than your freaking undershirt. So everybody, calm down.
Instead of removing the stigma, I'd rather remove the stink. So we've talked about stinky socks, Tim. Let's talk about the other kinds of socks.
Knee socks.
Knee-high socks, thigh-high socks.
Yeah.
Yes. Calf-high socks.
Yeah.
Then you got ankle socks. Then you got no-show socks.
Tom, you and I were on the same page about all this.
These do all exist. You're not going to question that I made any of those up.
No. I mean, I would quibble with knee high and thigh high being used interchangeably.
I don't think. No, I didn't say they were.
I
saying
thought you were saying.
I was going progressively lower, Tim. I was starting at thigh high, then knee high, and then calf high,
Methodically,
and then
you were methodically going
ankle high, and then no show, and then confusingly, Tim,
no show too small, right? We could all agree on this.
It's a tricky thing.
We should cut it off at ankle.
I don't know. Sometimes I do like wearing no-show socks. Then people think like, what is this guy, a teenager? He's not wearing socks at all.
Yeah.
But
people often mistake you for a teenager.
Yep, all the time. They're like, Jesus Christ, that teenager looks like shit. I get that guy to a hospital.
Man, me at my healthiest, which is, I think now, right? Like, it doesn't hold a candle to 19-year-old me doing every fucking thing wrong that I could think of doing.
19-year-old you could like have a 12-pack of beer, smoke a pack of cigarettes, eat half of a McDonald's, and be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a bite of an Impossible Whopper and I need to take a nap.
Yeah, so I own some pairs of ankle socks, but no matter what, they always seem like they're like too small, like
ankle socks or
no show.
Okay.
It always seems like I'm stretching them like out of shape. But that's the style. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
What's your day-to-day sock like, Tim?
It's a calf sock.
Calf?
Right? What are these, Tom?
Yeah, that goes up to. Oh, you can put your pants back on. I don't need to see all of that. Yeah, those go up to your thigh.
I mean, I'm just used to in any kind of medical setting.
Well, Tim, I've told you I am not your doctor because I am a medical doctor, unlike your doctor. So, all joking aside, you have calf, half calf.
Half calf.
Half calf. That's what you wear. Even is your socks dependent on the season at all?
I'd like it to be. I have multiple socks for so I got these guys, and you can see one of these just like.
I wonder if we could pitch this, like what's going on right now, to Bill Gates as like a podcast. Like we'll go around, we'll just interview people about their daily sock habits.
It'll be like specific to him. Like
sure, like
it's like we have a Patreon, but it's like
there's
$780,000 a month.
Yeah, there's one tier, one slot.
Yeah,
it's for Bill Gates, and and maybe even opens up some doors for us to interview some celebrities about
we'll
their
even
socks.
Send them the socks afterwards.
Yeah, I'll hand deliver them for if the price is right.
What would it take for you? I imagine not a lot.
Well, what the hell is that? Are you going to say something for Bill Gates to?
What would it be if it was like, if Bill Gates was like, yeah, boys, I want a daily sock podcast, and I want you to deliver every day. That's your job. It's 5 days a week. It's 5 episodes a week.
Okay.
But also, we have to deliver the socks that we're talking about to a place, let's say the Upper West Side, my doctor's office.
Oh, that?
Every morning.
Every morning?
Yeah. I guess it would be like, I'd do that for like, as a part-time job.
Yeah. I mean, if I can do that as a part-time job, but make a full-time salary doing that, I'd do that. Do I have to touch the socks?
You have to touch the socks. You have to
Can I put a glove on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would do that for...
But they have to be exactly your flesh colored, and you have to like paint nails and knuckles on them.
I mean, I guess maybe $1,000 a week.
If Old Man Gates finds out that you're wearing gloves, the whole deal is off.
Yeah.
So like some of them might build in a budget for the gloves,
for
making them
custom
look like your
gloves that look
hands.
just like my hands. I mean, honestly, if that were like a real deal breaker for him, I would probably just, I would be like, all right, I'll just wash my hands after. It's fine.
Tom, I think you're selling yourself short.
I definitely am. I would not tell him that because he's got money.
No, you would do it for essentially $50,000 a year.
Yeah, like $200 a morning. That's not bad.
You also have to produce an episode every day about that stuff.
Every day?
Yeah, it's 5 days
I am
a week.
selling myself short.
Yeah.
All right, double that.
You wouldn't do this show.
I know. Double that, and I would do it. But again, that's my like rock bottom price. That is not what I would tell Bill Gates.
Right.
And honestly, I wouldn't do... For that price, I wouldn't do it for him because I'd be like, no, you've got tons of money, man. I want $10 million a year to do this.
Right.
I want $1 billion a year, which you will not miss, Bill Gates. So, and I'll wear the socks myself on. Nah, he'd probably be mad about that. Then I'd ruin them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd do something sick if that's what he wanted for $1 billion a year.
So to answer your question, I got some. What do you think? These are probably like a cotton poly blend or something.
Yeah, that's what that looks like.
Yeah, they're thin.
Yeah,
and this is, I think, optimal for.
If you're trying to get me to smell them so I can see if they're cotton polyester or not, sorry.
I don't think your nose is that refined, Tom. I don't think you.
It is. I can smell textiles.
I also have some wool socks, some like chunky wool socks. I got some of the, those smart wool socks?
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal with those are. But here's the thing. I don't have enough of like these socks to last me every day that I need them. So sometimes in the summer or like now, like not so much now because I'm not really leaving my apartment that much. I'm like wearing like the smart wool socks in like June. And that sucks. That's stupid.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm wearing these cotton poly blends.
And now
in the winter,
you're not going out a lot because you're under house arrest. Now, how does the anklet fit over some of these socks?
As you know, it's bulky in kind of one spot, right? So usually if I can cut a segment out of
your sock for the bulky part to rub up against your skin?
No, you can't put it under the ankle, but There's some. Look at it. There's no daylight.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, your foot's looking a little discolored. I
Yeah,
think they might have put it on too
I've asked the
too
warden
tight.
to do something about that. He's ignoring my pleas.
Sorry about that. Something fell. But do you want to know what my sock regimen is? Or are you going to sit there and continue being rude?
Tube socks all the way.
No, I mean, what would you, I'm wearing ankle.
You're a tube dude.
Yeah, a
You're
tubular
wearing-
dude.
You're wearing like between a half calf and an ankle.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
What the hell is this even? What,
This is
what
like
does
a
it
normal
say on the
sock.
package?
It is like a normal sock where it protects your entire ankle. It doesn't just come up and touch your
You
ankle.
didn't mention it earlier.
What would you call it? This is like the kind of sock you would wear with high tops.
It seems like the ankle socks
Mm-hmm.
that are a size too big for you that you pulled all the way.
No, because look where the heel is.
I'm telling you, that's what it would seem like. But you got different colors on the heel and the toe, and everything's in the right place here.
Yeah. So
I was just trying to paint a picture for the listener.
a beautiful picture. You know what? These socks, no, these are the ones. Again, everything's getting so fancy nowadays. The top of these socks is like thinner, and it's some, technology. And look,
technological clothes.
this isn't even like a technology that I bought into. This is the kind of technology that's, it's worked its way down to everyday Joe type socks.
Well, maybe freaking clothes would be more affordable if we didn't incorporate. Clothes couldn't be more affordable.
Yeah, clothes are extremely cheap.
Yeah.
That's like one of the few things that like prices just keep going down because they find better and better slave labor to make these things. But I only like, Tim, these used to be like the only types of socks I had. And like these and like one or two pairs of dress socks that hopefully I didn't have like two things that required dress socks in the same week to go to.
If you had a job interview and then somebody died, you'd have to be like, well, can't go to the funeral.
Yeah, no, I think that has happened where it's like, well, I'm gonna have to wear white socks to this funeral and just make sure I don't like cross my legs and reveal my ankles like a walking around like a real like 18th century prude. God forbid somebody see my ankles. But a few years ago, I finally started investing in some wool socks for the winter. And it's great. Makes a real big difference. I actually
You talking about the chunks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the chunks.
I actually only got those once I got like a nice pair of LL Bean boots.
You got some bean boots? And
Yeah.
did you get some bean wool socks?
No, I
was
got
gonna
them
call.
from somebody else. A different vendor.
I'm a bean man myself. Tom.
Yeah, I know. You look like it.
What does that mean?
You look like Mr. Bean.
Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that it wasn't like a weird slur.
But yeah, so I
There's
started.
worse things in the world to look like than looking like Mr. Bean.
Rowan Atkinson's not a bad looking guy, but Mr. Bean is.
Yeah, his expression is always like.
Yeah, people can't hear that on the podcast, Tim.
Yeah,
but,
I was hoping you would paint a
well,
picture.
to everybody listening,
Remember
Tim
when I
made a
described your
face a lot
socks?
like Mr. Bean. Hey, have you ever seen Mr. Bean? That's the kind of face Tim
Pursed
made
my lips a little bit.
when he said, "This is the kind of face Mr. Bean has." Probably the best way to paint a picture would be to look up what Mr. Bean looks like.
So you're saying it was a good impression?
Yeah, I would have known who
You're
you
saying
were
I got
talking
a future and impressions.
in Mr. Bean's specific impressions. Yeah,
There's a lot of money in the beam mimicry.
there's not a lot of money in Bean. There's a lot of money in being Mr. Bean, and then there's everything else. I'd like a
You have a
shirt that
t-shirt
says that.
right?
How
Got it off of
confusing
Facebook.
would that be? And it just had like a picture of like a Lamborghini on it. There's a
Well,
lot of money in being Mr. Bean, and then there's everything else.
God, I think so. Some kid would wear that to high school, and then like
turn it inside out.
Yeah, because they're like,
they wouldn't know
we're
why.
not sure, but like this has to be, this must be against the rules.
We were speaking of sock or clothes production in general. Did you know that there's a city in China that is Sock City?
Suck City, more like.
Yeah, I'd like to see you walk around the streets of Sock City and say some shit like that, Tim. You'll get hurt. I was trying to think of something they could do with the socks. I guess they could put soap in it, in the socks, and just and they could be like, and there's a lot more where that comes
they could
from.
put bricks in the socks.
They could make socks strong enough to contain a brick.
They got silver in them, some of them.
Silver is actually not that strong of a metal, Tim. Try and keep up. Sock City. I'm gonna mispronounce this, but it's I think it's Zhuji, Zhuji.
Okay.
1 out of every 3 pairs of socks in the world comes from this city.
Wow.
I'm
sorry for calling it Suck City. I like socks.
Yeah.
And they're making a third of the socks.
Right. You're gonna dramatically reduce the sock options you have, Tim, if this gets back to anybody in Sock City.
Yeah. It's not even. I think it's heroic what they're doing, Tom.
Yeah. Well, Tim, it's obvious you're lying. They make 8 billion pairs of socks a year. That is, you know what this said? That's 2 pairs for every person, but there are more than 4.5 billion people, aren't there? How many people are there?
There's about 7 billion.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like
not everybody has socks.
This is like a little bit old data, but have you heard about this? That there aren't enough people anymore, or there won't be
for what?
The future.
See, I'm getting mixed signals here because I'm also hearing that the worst thing you can do for the environment is having a kid.
Right.
And then now they're saying there's not enough kids.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a little bit of a like damned if you do, damned if you don't type thing.
And also, they're automating everything.
Right.
We're not going to have work for everybody.
Maybe. I don't know. I just read a thing where they're like, the current estimates, we think it's bad now with how many boomers, aging boomers there are by the time we're old.
Oh, you mean for like the U.S., like Social Security
for like
will
the whole
be insolvent
world.
because like...
Well, that's part of it, but the whole world. That's why China just changed their 2-child policy to 3-child.
Right.
Because they're just like, oh, shit. Like everybody's starting to realize, oh, the population. Because, I mean, aside from, I don't know if it's ever happened in like, human history after like the Ice Age of population like dramatically contracting. Right. It's always growing. So they're saying like, yeah, if 50 years from now there's 25% less people on Earth, that could cause some problems.
What problems would that cause? Because it also seems like a growing portion of the Earth is going to be unlivable.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And like there's going to be massive kind of migration and refugee issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't less volume, less bodies be a positive? Like what?
Yeah, but who's going to work at McDonald's, Tim?
Tom, they're trying to get nobody to work at McDonald's.
Yeah. Me, the man ordering the hamburger.
Yeah, you're pressing the touch screen and then a robot
I'm going in the back, flipping the burger.
No, the lab, they're going to have lab-grown meat.
It's true. We don't even need new cows.
Exactly. Now that's a thing. Let's get rid of the cows first.
Oh, we're trying, Tim. We're making them into we're making them into hamburgers as fast as we can, but somehow they keep popping up more and more of them. Yeah, so that's a problem. That there aren't going to be enough people, and this might be a problem that hits Sock City, and then all of a sudden, not enough socks.
I feel like there's enough socks in circulation right now.
Well, yeah, easy for you to say. You don't think socks stink. You're like, I'll wear somebody else's socks that they've worn for a week. What's the big deal?
You know, I'd wash them first. Do a little woolite in the sink.
I wouldn't. I would not wear another person's socks.
You want to swap socks real
No,
quick?
I don't want to swap socks, even
What
if you
I
go
give
wash them.
$45 to swap socks
For how long?
for the rest of the night.
Till midnight?
Yeah.
I want you staying at my home until midnight wearing my socks.
Honor system. I'll leave when you want me to leave,
No,
and then I'll call you at midnight and say
I
we can
don't.
take off the
You
socks.
don't. You don't pay up your bets anyway, so I'm not taking bets like that.
What do you mean?
You always bet me like $5,000
It was
on
45. I was trying to keep it. I was trying to
I
keep it
know,
reasonable.
but I don't even trust you to pay me 45.
Sock swap. Sock
That's
swap.
the
sock
kind
swap.
of boy cries wolf mentality that you've led me to.
I'll put them. You want me to put the money on the table right now, Tom?
No, I don't want to do this, Tim.
I know. That's why I'm paying you.
No, I bet this makes you feel like a big man.
It really does. Check it out.
Wow,
Hey,
did you say $45? Because that's literally what you have in your wallet.
hey,
Do you know exactly what you have in your wallet at all times in
Hey.
case you need somebody to perform whatever bizarre fetish this is?
I always had a bizarre
Fetish.
fear
Uh,
that I would get mugged,
yeah.
and the mugger would say to me,
hmm
"Give me your money, and if you don't know the exact amount, like you have to tell me exactly how much money you're going to give me."
So he can make change.
No. And if you don't know it exactly, I'll kill you too. Right? So I'm taking your money either way.
So there's like a
Like-
Saw-esque situation with
yeah,
like a
I don't know why.
a
I would think
sadistic
about
killer.
this all the time. Whenever I had
What?
money, and I
All
never
the
have,
time?
Yeah, I would.
Where'd you even come up with this idea?
I don't know. I think I have the idle brain most of the time, Tom. But I always thought like I have to know exactly how much money is in my wallet, lest I get mugged and they say, "Hand over your wallet. Tell me exactly how much is in there." I'm taking it either way, and if you guess it, if you can tell me accurately how much money is in the wallet, I'll spare you your life.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. The thing a lot of muggers like to do is once they have the money, sit and count it and have a further
This
conversation
is a
with somebody.
sicko, Tom.
Yeah.
This isn't a regular mugger. This is
Yeah.
a sicko.
Well, this is a sicko mugging another sicko. So it all washes out as far as I'm
$45. You want me
concerned.
to put it back in my
Yeah,
wallet?
put it back in your wallet. I'm
Yeah,
not
keep your
wearing your
socks on.
socks for not for any amount of money, but not for $45.
50?
Yeah, I'll do it for 50. What are your thoughts, Tim, about toe socks?
Tom, I'll tell you one thing. The world's oldest pair of socks that they discovered.
Mm-hmm.
They were excavated at the end of the 19th century from the burial grounds of ancient, it's a Greek colony, Oxyrhynchus?
That sounds like a artificial preservative.
Yeah. Anyway, socks are made from red wool, and they have split toes for wearing with sandals. Tom, they had toe socks, the oldest pair of socks that we know of.
Mhm.
Freaking toe
And
socks.
what year do they think this is from?
Oh, I don't know. Ancient.
Oh, sorry.
No, do you want to ask Siri about the...
No, I looked it up. They think they're from anywhere between 3 and 500 AD.
Yeah.
So if they dug them up in the 19th century, I bet they probably were like, we got to figure out why this whole city stinks. And
You don't like toe socks?
No, I'm saying those
Oh,
socks
the
must have
sock-
really
the smell,
smelled.
yeah.
They had to dig up the whole city just to find them.
Yeah.
Well, those are like ninja socks kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
just but like
Just
sequestering the big toe
right.
and then everything else. Like
Yeah.
mittens. The mittens of socks.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't-
Rather than the glove of socks.
right. Tom, I've never worn toe socks,
Mhm.
but I'd like to. I don't know why I haven't.
Yeah.
It seems like it'd be nice to have that right now. Like thinking about it right now, like don't you just want to like?
I don't know if I would like it or hate it.
Yeah, but like for us to sit here and mock it when we haven't even tried it would be unconscionable.
They were invented in the 70s.
Not from what I understand. It was ancient Egypt.
Well, I'm talking about the individual toe socks.
Right.
And the woman who invented it copyrighted it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned out like you can't copyright an idea like that. You have to patent it.
Yeah.
So thanks to that, why you can buy these socks freely. They're patent free. And they became popular again in the 90s.
Yeah, my high school girlfriend wore toe socks all
Yeah,
the time.
with girls, like teenage girls in the 90s. It was a big deal. I mean, I don't think it was a big deal. I think it was probably just like some buyer at Old Navy was like, we should start stocking these,
Yeah.
and then
I don't know.
just wore 'em.
People were so against them.
Yeah.
Well, who cares?
Well,
It
but
seems
then
like it might be
then
nice.
the toe shoes came around, and I don't know if it's like the toe shoes came and it was like, wow, I wish we could go back to just having toe socks. That life was a piece of cake compared to this, or if one inevitably led to the other.
I miss the days of Blockbuster Video and toe socks. Right?
Sounds like you just miss being a teenager.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Even more than I miss being in my 20s. Because being in my 20s, they were still like, society was like, you have a job
Society.
and figure out what you're going to do. Teens, they were just like, go to school. It's
and
like, all
then
right,
the
I can
rest
do
of
that.
the rest of your time is yours, more or less.
Yeah. And guess what? School is kind of bullshit too.
Yeah. I do think it's funny that the first pair of socks came from like ancient Greece, or I guess not ancient, but almost ancient Greece. Also, I think it's wild that when you go back in history, and I see this all the time when I'm at the museum, that there
You
was,
go to the museum a lot?
yeah, I go every day.
Okay.
That they're always like, oh, this is from like some point within these 200 years. Or like, oh, here's one from this year, and look at the improvements they made 500 years later. It's like, damn, nothing was going on, huh? If they can't even pinpoint, nowadays, if you showed somebody like a pair of Air Jordans, they'd be able to tell you exactly when those came out.
Look it up online.
Yeah, you can just tell you by looking at them.
Yeah.
Some people, but historians, they look at an old pair of socks and they're like, we can narrow it down to 200 years. Do you think in like the far future, they're going to be like, this Game Boy, it's from somewhere in the late 20th century or between then and the early 18th century?
I think we're generally better at record keeping now.
Yeah. Yeah.
These tend to be documented in a more...
Yeah, they could have put a tag on these socks so we would have known.
Let's put a tag.
But I do think it's funny that the oldest pair of socks were worn with sandals, something that's seen as such a
faux
fashion
pas.
faux
Yeah.
pas. And here were the ancient Greeks walking around without that guy was probably on his way to an orgy when he
That's literally all you know.
died in the streets wearing
you keep
his socks.
bringing up ancient Greece in episode after episode,
Huh?
and then immediately just start talking about the orgies.
Well, I'm sorry, Tim, if the knowledge I have of ancient Greece isn't just what you learned in a textbook, that I know some things that went on that they couldn't put in the textbooks, because guess what? If they did, they'd have to sell the textbooks up on the top shelf wrapped in plastic.
Tom, what color should your socks be? According to general etiquette rules.
White if they're not dress socks, and black if they're dress socks.
Nope. Your sock should match the color of your shoe
What?
or the color of your pants.
heart. Oh.
But if it matches your pants, it should be at least one shade darker than your pants.
That makes sense. You don't want socks that are lighter than your pants.
And if they match your shoes, they should be at least one shade lighter
Lighter.
than your shoes.
So you can't wear shoes and pants that are the same shade because otherwise, what the hell are you going to do?
No, that's
It creates some kind of a paradox.
Or you wear striped socks.
I thought you were going to say that your socks should be gray, like a kiss from a rose. Because then, gray goes with everything.
Gray does go with everything.
But it is such I know it's like a trope or whatever.
I'm wearing gray socks, you son of a bitch.
But when people,
is that why you don't want to swap socks?
yeah, it is, Tim. I don't know if you've been kissing those socks or not.
You saw me kiss them earlier.
That's true. I did. I do know you've been kissing those socks, and that's why I don't want to wear them. No, but like if you see somebody wearing like black socks at the beach, you are like, man, what a nerd.
Yeah.
Look at this nerd. That's all.
If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. We do a lot of places. There's a Facebook. There's Twitter at Complete Guide. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Your Pal Tim.
You can follow me at Tom Reynolds.
You can follow us on Twitter at Complete Guide.
Yes.
You can follow us on Instagram at TCGTE.
Yes.
But the real deal is the Patreon.
Yes.
Patreon.com/complete
guide.
Yeah. You get every week Books the Podcast. Right now we are covering 1984 by George Orwell.
Wrapping it up.
Tom's wrapping it up this week. Then I'm gonna watch the movie next week.
You're gonna watch the movie.
There's gonna be other fun stuff. We're gonna go to Dave and Buster's soon.
Yep.
Document it. We're gonna get high and document it, and then maybe we'll read some more books too.
Patreon.com/complete guide.
Yeah, and then there's a Reddit, TCGTE.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the subreddit thing. And there's a Discord. Go look for that as well.
Complete guide.
Complete guide. We should be more consistent with this stuff. Every platform try TCGTE and Complete Guide.
Yeah.
And one of them is
one
us.
of them's on there. Tim, will you continue wearing socks after this episode, or have you been dissuaded for good?
I think I am going to explore toe socks.
Wow.
Who cares, right? You do what you like.
This is the weirdest midlife crisis I've ever heard.
Tom, you have no idea the midlife crisis that I'm having.
Do you care to share anymore?
I'll tell you.
You're going to some weird doctor who's not a doctor. You're going to start wearing toe socks.
I'm going to get taller.
You're going to get taller. Just go buy a Corvette and leave the rest of us alone.
1987. Midlife crisis. I can afford a fucking Corvette, Tom. I do a lot of things.
Yeah, well, you can't afford it because I bet you're probably paying that fake doctor that doctor who promised to make you taller a fortune.
Really, all my money's going to paying people to do sock swaps with me.
All right, we'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.